was never the idea to be a founder when I was young. I wanted to be a pilot because I grew up in the Netherlands, the slums of the Amsterdam. So I've seen a lot of injustice, a lot of poverty in my environment. So that really shaped me in who I am today. Because when I started working in these larger corporate companies, I saw, okay, it's a lot of ego, a lot of tension, a lot of look at me being awesome. And I thought this could be much better. When I worked at these corporates, I had a lot of great ideas and I tried to push them and like, hey, maybe we can do it this way. So I felt like that bird that couldn't really fly. I watched a show of Richard Branson, Bear Grylls, Al Gore was there, and they were really telling some inspiring stuff. I got so inspired. The next day, I went to my employee and said, I want to stop. And he was like, stop, but you're doing so well. And I was like, yeah, but I think this is not for me, and I don't want to waste my future doing stuff that I don't like.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much for coming to the life of a founder. How's it going?
It's going well, Max. Nice seeing you again. Always an honor
Pleasure.
to speak with you.
My pleasure. We had already our podcast, the founder talk, but that's a different stuff. So here we'll be talking about your life as an entrepreneur. It's a bit outside business, more inside who you are, and all belongs to you. So Uh, let me ask. Uh, would you like to picture me where you have come from and how it all started?
That's a very deep question because I can go very deep and then I can stay on the surface. So,
You like?
but because it's you, I will go as deep as I can. Um, Actually, it was never the idea to be a founder when I was young. I wanted to be a pilot of a jet when I was a very young guy. But at some point, because I grew up in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, and actually I grew up in like, you could say it's like the slums of the Amsterdam. So I've seen a lot of injustice, a lot of poverty in my environment. And yeah, obviously when you're seeing that and experiencing that, you grow a certain mindset. You have some ability to understand some things. So that really shaped me in who I am today. That's also give me a lot of the insight and wisdom which I try to bring out to my colleagues, but also my younger nephews, my children, and etc. But that's also gave me the inspiration to be a founder, because when I started working in these larger corporate companies, I saw, okay, it's a lot of ego, a lot of tension, a lot of look at me being awesome, and I thought this could be much better, especially because you are like participating in the future of life. If you create products, create services, you're really participating in trying to do the right thing. And yeah, that's what really motivated me to do the right thing. And yeah, to really inspire those to become more than they feel they are, because it's always a feeling. And even though it doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through, you can always break through that environment. So yeah, that's it, Max.
What was the motivation behind being an entrepreneur and starting your venture?
So Actually, when I worked at these corporates, I had a lot of great ideas, and I tried to push them. And like, hey, maybe we can do it this way, and really get involved with my ideas. But I felt I could not always, like, I always say, if you want to see the bird fly, you have to set them free and not put them in a cage. So I felt like that bird that couldn't really fly. So so I thought by myself, okay, I have some experience. So that really motivated me to become the entrepreneur, to get some more freedom in my mind and do the things which I believe seems right.
I agree. I mean, finding a way to be an entrepreneur is pretty complicated. You must have
Yes.
inside. Okay, you can't decide I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, it's like a singer. You can say I want to be a singer. Yes, maybe you say I want to be a singer, but doesn't mean you will be, because you must have so much talent and passion behind, right, to
Yeah.
pursue the dream. Now, I remember when I started my first startup was 25, which means 25 old 25 years ago. And for me, it was pretty methodic as I am. So I said, okay, I'm going to stop what I do today. I don't like working for anyone because it's for depressing for me. I can't see anything above and no improvement. Yes, maybe you can be a good CEO one day, even taking 10 million per year if you are the very, very good one, but still there's a cap. So, and I say, okay, I'm going from tomorrow. I'm leaving. I'm starting what is my dream. So, have you done something similar, or for you, it's been just a seamless process? And what do you feel back then?
In a way, it's similar, I think, because it motivated me to, because the key words actually of what I'm creating is traceability and transparency. So one of the things that always was on my mind is, if you really want to solve problems, we need to be more transparent about what's going on. Because if we kept some data behind, we cannot really solve it, because it will come back at some point, because you left some things behind. So it will come and get you at some point. At the same time, traceability, because just an easy example, if you lost something, you go in through your mind and think, okay, where did I went, what did I do to really get back to that point where you lost your thing which you lost. So that is basically what traceability is for me. So it's a really easy thing. You can say it in the business, you can make it very complicated, but actually it's a really easy thing, because it is all about understanding, w- what have I done to really ensure that I can improve towards the future. So a funny story to tell you, Max. So this is also, I think it's a very inspiring story. I actually didn't have any idea of, like, I'm going to be a founder, but at some day I felt I wanted to go to an event, learn more about these business gurus. So I watched a show of Richard Branson, Bear Grylls, Al Gore was there, and they were really telling some inspiring stuff. And I got so inspired that the next day I went to my employee and said, I want to stop. And he was like, stop, but you're doing so well. And I was like, yeah, but I think this is not for me, and I don't want to waste my future doing stuff that I don't like. So I'm going to stop. What are you going to do then? I don't know. I just figured it out. So I think sometimes you need to make that jump, in a leap of faith, is what I call it, to just jump and see the magic that's behind it. So we tend to always keep grasp on the securities, but sometimes in the insecurities, there's so much magic going on, which you can grasp.
I mean, you need to, I mean, in somehow, you need to be very, have so much courage, right? Be brave enough to say, okay, I'm working from something that's pretty much certain, at least for the short future, near one, to something that is very much uncertain, which is being entrepreneurial. Because I mean, actually, if you start without even knowing where you're going to, it's even more uncertain. A startup, by definition, is navigating the uncertainty. So you must be brave and just like live in the comfort zone, which is, I do believe, the worst place to be. It's exactly the comfort zone. and because it close your mind and just make the huge jump. We can go right, can go wrong. That's fine.
So actually, what I experienced in the last 7 years of being an entrepreneur, I've developed myself so much that I can't even explain. I even thinking about in my mind like, why didn't I do this before? Because I'm forcing myself to develop myself so much, and that's the thing. It's like when you want to create diamonds, you have to have tension, right?
Yeah,
And that's with everything in the world. It's like that's how land is created. With this tension, land is created, and that's what I'm feeling. Being an entrepreneur got me in so many bare circumstances and stressful circumstances that it forces me to grow. To give you an example, when I just started, I didn't have any money, and at some point, yeah, I was working from 9 to 6 for the startup, and then after 6 I had 3 hours for rest, and then did night shift to really get some money to take care of my family. So, and I did this for a year. So it's almost like 24 hours work. Yeah, it was 20 hour, 4 hours sleep, 20-hour work. I really pushed forward, and but it's really bare circumstances, but it forced me to have a different perspective of what is comfort zone and what's not, because I've been through it, and I'm still okay, I'm still happy, nothing's going on with me. So but I'm well experienced now because of that situation, and this is only one of the many examples that I can mention, is that yeah, being an entrepreneur or even being uh, outside your comfort zone really forces you to grow internally, and then externally you will find the joy and the fruits of it.
absolutely. I do agree. I mean, what were the initial struggles when you started?
Well, obviously, I was very used to wait for my salary. And then at some point, you need to make your own salary. And then at first, you have this romantic idea like, oh, yeah, within a year, I will make it. And then, everything will be just fine and it will be just perfect. And I have this great idea. And then when you start pitching the idea, start doing some stuff, you see that, oh, wow, I didn't expect this to happen or that to happen. And that's the thing, in your mind, it sometimes it's too easy to simplify it. And then when you start doing the actual work, you'll see, oh, I have to take care of my legal stuff, contracting. Oh, I never send an invoice. How does that work? Do I, you know and then do I do it with the VAT or not? And it's totally a new space, so it's a lot of new information which you haven't figured out before, because obviously when you work in a company, it's all already there, it's already in place, the process is in place, and now you need to start create your own process. Yeah, well, that's a big challenge, I guess.
I mean, change a lot. I mean, you must take care
Big
at the
change.
beginning when you start. Actually, you take care of everything from the invoicing to marketing, sales. So of course, change a lot, so much. But
Yes.
in terms of your day-to-day routine, okay, because you must have your, for example, as I say, I'm very methodic, so I try to give me a very strict routine when I'm not traveling. When you travel, it's very complicated, but even then I try to be very much wake up in the morning, do some exercise before going to the gym, before going to the office or meeting clients, meeting funders, investors, wherever it is. And now, in your case, do you have a day-to-day routine?
Yes, but to be honest, it really took some time to develop this routine, because in the beginning you're like so optimistic. You're like, oh wow, I have all the time and I can create my own schedule, and then I can go to the gym in the morning, and then I work from then to then, and then I'll do some. So you create this nice theoretical schedule,
Theoretically.
but then in the end, it's harder to live by that schedule than it is in your mind. So in the beginning, I said, "Oh yeah, well, if I start at 11 o'clock in the morning, it's okay for this day." But once you start doing that, you really corrupting your own routine. So it really took some time to understand. Actually, the freedom, that's where it gets difficult.
Yeah.
You need to set some. restrictions for yourself. But making restrictions for yourself is much more difficult than getting restrictions from another person. So, and I think that is really underestimated by many startup founders because they think, oh yeah, I have all the time, and then try to do their stuff, but they need restrictions. So my current daily routine is really, wake up early around 5 to 6. I go to the gym, I do some meditating, I read some stuff in the morning, and then I really start my day. So because what I want to achieve, I need to cross some good things. Then you're already like in a winning streak. So start positive, and you don't know what's happened, so you cannot never say you will end positive because the day, yeah, is dynamic. But then at least you started positive, so you can cross that off your list.
I agree. I mean, it's about giving to yourself some kind of discipline as well, right? So, as
Yeah.
you said, it's very complicated to when you get rules from outside, if you want or if you don't want to follow, but at least there's something to follow. When you're an entrepreneur, you must give to yourself rules. Otherwise, it becomes a jungle, right? And it's very complicated to succeed in a jungle. So I perfectly agree. I try to do the same. Of course, you plan something and after everything change during the day. But that's true.
Yes, yes.
I
And it's a
mean,
flow, right? Because it's
yes,
not like, oh, you do it and then you do it automatically. At some point when you, it's so difficult to be in the routine, but to get out of routine is like 1 2 days and you're out of the routine.
it does. It does. It does. Absolutely. I mean, routine is not that natural. Let's put it this way. And
Yes.
so you must keep yourself inside something that not is not forced, but pretty much similar. What do you enjoy the most? What you're doing today? What the most exciting part of being an entrepreneur?
Actually, I love this, talking and speaking about what we're trying to achieve and preaching about the vision. I really love it. Last week, as you know, I've been to Paris for a tech event, and for some reason there were so many interested parties, companies, large corporate, in what we're doing, and I really enjoyed presenting of what we're doing and how we think we can solve the many issues in supply chain logistics. So I really enjoy that. What I also enjoy a lot is actually um, talking to people and really figure out what really stops them to achieve their best selves. So I really enjoy like brainstorming how they can solve or improve their circumstances and really get the best out of them. Yeah, it's like seeing a little plant grow. You see it, and then when it grows, it's fantastic. It's the same principle, I believe.
It
I,
does.
I think all our human minds love to see things grow.
Oh, yeah, especially when you start with your effort every day is to see your baby, right, growing as much as you can, and one day becoming a very good company. But this is must be our attitude, okay? To do something very good every day, to move a bit further, a bit ahead, enhancing yourself and whatever you're doing every day, even a bit, very little, you've done something more, which is extremely
Yes.
simple. You can't. I detest when I finish my day, I'm still where I was in the morning. For me, it's a nightmare. But anyway, this is, I believe, must be the attitude of an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah,
constantly.
I love to compare it with the gym, right? Before you go to the gym, you feel like, oh, I'm not in shape, and you find it a hard time to go to the gym, and then you do it for some weeks, and you're like looking in the mirror and like, I don't really see anything. So that's the magic, right? You have to proceed. At some point, you will hit that point that where you see your body start to change, and you're like, oh wow, I'm proud of myself, and then it gets motivating. Then you cannot be, you don't want to even miss a day in the gym because you see these results. And I think that's the thing we really need to get. It's like serving. At some point it's a very difficult part, but after that it's more easy, and then it becomes natural. And it really takes the effort.
Yeah, the most challenging part is where you start. You can't see anything, right? So you must have
Yeah.
your vision and say, okay, that day we're right when I will be there. So until then, I need to fight. I need to call, but this is what it is. I mean, I'm a big lover of gym. I've done, I think, all possible sports. Today, I can only do, according with my doctor, a bit of weights. It's okay for me. It's fine. But for me, sport has been absolutely everything, from boxing
Yes.
to football to uh, everything I did. It's very keeps you so focused, which is,
Yes.
and release my mind almost every day. And I totally agree. Now, uh, you start from scratch. The startup is growing. As the startup grows, right? How does it affect your life, your daily life? I believe it is becoming a big pleasure, because you are growing, so you're doing exactly what your desire is and was, but at the same time you have more challenge, more thing to think about every day, responsibilities, employees to pay. How does this affect your life?
Oh yes, life gets only more complicated the more you achieve. And I like to compare it with a game, you know. In level 1 is easy, level 2 might be easy, but at some point it becomes difficult. But then becomes also more rewarding when you achieve that level. And I see the same, like, oh yeah, it actually it gets complicated because now you're not only paying your salaries, but you pay salaries of your employees. And then you want to build towards larger corporates. You have to be challenged with uh, a lot of different paperwork you never seen before. Or even now, I'm this is the first time I'm raising funds. Yeah, well, I know the commercial game. So the commercial game is like is grown to be a comfort zone. But now I have to be step out of my comfort zone and talk with investor to give me some money to really scale the business. That's a different game and a different mindset. So it really you keep on growing, and I actually love it. That's why I have this tattoo in my arm. Keep wait, you can see keep your
Yeah, yeah,
eyes on
yeah.
the prize. You know, I think that's
Yeah.
the mindset. And if I forget it, I just read it like, oh yeah, it's good.
Keep in mind.
Keep in mind. Yes,
Keep in
yes,
mind. I mean,
yes,
absolutely, absolutely. I can't agree more. Anyway, we must face changing, right? And as you said, you had to walk away from your comfort zone, move from sales to fundraising. It's a completely different story, although you're still selling. It try to enhance. That's what is the life of an entrepreneur, like mine, yours, and so on and so forth. So far, so on.
yes.
Now, in terms of entrepreneur, we know 90% of startups fail. Do you think about failure? And if, how do you try to let these thoughts going away from you?
Mm, actually, I don't think about failure because I really don't believe in failure. I only believe in like trial and error. Like, yes, there might be an error, there might be something that doesn't really work out, but that the only signal that gives me is that I'm not ready for this new level. I need to start doing uh, uh, some changes within the company, changes in myself, perhaps changes in within the team, whatever change that something needs to change to really get through the next phase. So actually, what we call failure is actually, for me, it's like, okay, it's a data point. It's like telling me, okay, I'm not ready for this. So having that said, because obviously sometimes you want to walk in front of your shoes, right? So your ambition, your urgency for growth is so big that you will walk in front of shoes. And I try to stay in my shoes. That's why I need people around me that keep me accountable, because sometimes ambition can be the devil as well, because you want so much and you're only focused on the future that you forget about today. So people around me keep me accountable, and then starting slow, you know, watching, be aware of where you are, what happened yesterday, and why you're not ready for tomorrow. So I really don't see failure as a bad thing. I see it as yeah, it's a learning curve.
I mean, failure is there. Well, why think about failure? I mean, we try
Yeah,
to do as best as you can. And I always
yeah,
say to myself, every day I wake up in the morning, I try to compete only with myself. That's how it works for me. And I try to do as best as I can. If I don't
yeah.
reach there, what I can do? I mean, I done. My job is done. That's what
Exactly,
I can do.
exactly that, exactly that. You know, it's me versus me, my yesterday versus my today.
Yeah.
And if I don't do better than yesterday, then yeah, I need to go back to the drawing table and prepare myself to become better than yesterday.
Does. It does. There is so much talk about mindsetting and having a very healthy mind when it comes to founders, because especially when they work into venture capital, they get the money from the venture capitalist or any investor, and they ask you such a huge performance, right? 20, 30, 40% month on month, which is a pretty much crazy numbers that not everyone can achieve and also brings so much stress. So how do you, as you are moving now to fundraising, how do you keep with your mental health?
That's the thing. One of the things that there's also a discipline. It also needs some discipline. Is obviously rest. Finding a way to really have your thoughts like quiet and walk through it in a quiet environment. Because if you're all the time you're in stress, you really tend to be blinded of what is out there. So you move your life in maybe the wrong direction because you're so focused. That is one of the key things, is finding the rest. And obviously I'm a founder, so many of the times I drive myself in a situation that I overwork myself. But then my body gives some signals like, oh, why do I feel like this? Why I feel so stressed? I'm now sitting at the couch, but I still feel stressed. Those are all signals. I try to be listening to all those signals.
I mean, it is what it is, but I do believe keep your mind very healthy under stress is not easy at all. I do
No.
this with sport as much as I can. When I'm tired, I just stop. I go to work out a couple hours. I'm back. I don't mind. I'm pretty much a late guy, so which means I can keep going until 2, 3 o'clock in the night. Don't ask me do this at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's not for me. But yes, you must keep very very focused and trying to remove from your mind stress. And again, you do what you can do, right?
Yes, you do what you can do. And I think I always say also to the people working here, it's like the biggest project is not your career, it's not the house that you want, it's not all of that. The biggest project is you. You are the biggest project of your life. So
Yes,
to enable all the beautiful things that life has in place, you really need to like inspect yourself, inspect your mind, inspect your body, inspect your thoughts, everything that comes inside of you. And that is the biggest project you have.
absolutely. I mean, what's your life outside working? You must have a bright life.
Yes, I have 3 children. I have a wife. I like to sport like you. I like reading, especially books about self development and such, and mindset. That's why in this talk, that's a lot of we talk a lot about mindset, but it's also one of the things I really love. Inspecting my own mind, basically, is something that is almost a hobby nowadays. And you can find it in ancient books, but you can find it also in like a lot of self-development books. I really love that, so I do these things outside my daily routine of work. And I like taking a long walk.
Working
So yeah,
helps. Huh?
walking helps, yes, yes. But what I really want to do one day is really run like a marathon or something, because also that is a muscle, right? Allowing yourself to go outside of what your body can endure.
Yeah. I mean, again, I do find sport the best help for an entrepreneur. It's very, you don't need to compete, but it very much helps you to get fit in your body,
Yes.
in your mind. I'm like the Greeks, right? Ancient Greece, where you must keep your body, your mind completely healthy and fit. They go together.
Yes.
What is the biggest lesson you got so far?
Oh, the biggest lesson. The biggest lesson that I have so far is when you think you know everything, you still don't know everything. So every time I think I got it all figured out, and it's like, at some point, and that's the thing, right? You end up playing a level, and you end up playing that level very well, and you think you know it all. And you
Yeah.
think you're the professional and you're the guru and you can tell everyone how it works, etc. And then there's something comes along the way. It might be a person, it might be a business, it might be a situation, whatever, and it really shows you don't know anything. And I think this is the biggest lesson. You're never done learning and you're never done growing. And there's always someone better, smarter, faster, stronger, more endurable than you are. So, and as you said, that's why you never compare yourself with another. You can use it as an inspiration, and I use a lot of inspiration, obviously. But the biggest lesson is still that it's me versus me. Always challenge myself to be a better version tomorrow than I was yesterday.
That's by far the best thing you can do in life. I do believe comparing to others is absolutely wrong. And even when someone tell you, okay, you are like, you say, no, 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 I'm not like anyone. I'm myself. There is not a repetition of myself. There is not a repetition of anyone. We are all unique. So this kind of trying to compare each other, to me it's so wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. So what's the point? Don't bother me with this.
I love this word like we're equally unique.
Equally unique, exactly. That's perfect.
We're equal, but we're still unique.
We're equally unique. If you can give an advice to all the founders watching today, what can be yours?
Um, I think the advice will correspond with this talk is really make the project not your employees or your business or what you're trying to achieve. Make your project you, because then once you start doing that, you will also understand more about why your employees making the choice they make. And also, when you force yourself to grow, other people will see you're growing, so you'll be an inspiration for them to grow as well. I think this is also a key because when I speak with a lot of other founders, entrepreneurs, one of the big things that's going on is, yeah, it's really hard to find good people. But I don't really like believe in this phrase, because if you are good yourself, you will find good people. And if you force yourself to be better every day, they will follow that because obviously you have a leader role. And I think this is also one thing that I want to give out to all founders. Because you have a leader role, behave like a leader and stop nurturing your ego and take that leader role as a real leader. And as you see, you have many of these images where you see the leader is not the one on the car and saying you have to drive, but the leader is in front, enduring all of the pain first. So I think that is the one big thing I would love to see more real leaders instead of look at me being awesome and I've done it all, but you have to do the work.
That's the difference between boss and leader, right? Normally,
Yes.
leaders they lead by example. Boss, they never wrong. They are never wrong. They're always right, and the fault is always yours. You are the wrong one. That's the worst
Yeah.
you can do in any part of your life, regardless be an entrepreneur or not. You must lead by example.
Yes. Yes. And listen, right? Because what I hear often as well is like, Yeah, it's really hard to find right people, and they don't seem to they want to grow. So and then I asked a lot of the times I ask, okay, but did you have a conversation with them, and did you opened up with them what's in your mind, and how you see them grow and whatever? Be open about it. Do you ever do that? And most of the time the answer is no. But so you never listened to the one that's working with you, uh, achieving your mission and your vision. I think this is a real thing that needs to be normalized, right? Really open up the ears. There's this phrase, you have two ears, one mouth. So listen twice.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
Listen twice the heart as you speak.
listening is complicated. It's not for everyone. We love talking, right? Listening is much, much, much more complicated. You must
Yes,
be calm, listen to others, understanding what they're telling to you. So it's a different story. Be a good listener is for few people. It's not for everyone. But
yes,
if you are a leader, you must listen a lot.
yes. Because there's so many secret in listening, right?
Yeah,
Because you can learn so much. It's like you can read books, you can have courses, you can see documentaries, whatever. But listening is the free information you can get.
it
Is
does.
and listening is not just hearing the sound. It's like when someone's is creating a sound, really asking, what do you mean with it? What's your thought about it? Why are you saying this? Where does it come from? you know so that's the thing. I think this should be really normal. Actually, if I could be changing all the school system, one of the thing I would change is like learn all the children to listen.
That's true. That's completely true. We missed this part completely.
Yes.
What's your greatest, by far, wish?
My greatest wish, actually, I'm very simple about it. It's like a marathon. I run as far as I can. And my greatest wish is that someone, it can be my children, it can be the next generation, doesn't matter, they need to run further than I have run. Because that's the thing in life, right? You want to be the young generation, grow and grow further than you have grown. So that's the only thing I want to achieve, and therefore it's my obligation to run as far as I can.
Anthony, thank you so much for coming to the live with Founder. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Max. Thank you, Max.